mental toll of attempting Citadel Void can be overwhelming. It's not just about the skill about completing it, it's also a psychological thing. The Citadel has become to many the most infamous Roblox hobby, creating an aura of fear and respect among the community. The legacy of Citadel Void has become like a myth among hobbyists. Players often find themselves discussing Citadel Void not as a challenge to be conquered, but as a legend to be admired, almost like an unattainable goal. In the vast landscape of hobby, the Citadel Void stands as proof that humans are nowhere near the human limit. It may carry the label of nil difficulty, but its true essence lies in its complexity, its length, and the profound psychological battle it presents. Though Citadel Void might never get beaten, its aura inspires countless players to push their limits and seek to beat new hobbies and towers. Anyway, thanks for watching, remember to subscribe and join the Discord server in the description. And with that being said, see you in the next video.
Warzywa frosty. Wiemy, co robić, by zachowały świeżość i najlepszy smak. Mrozimy je tuż po zbiorach. A ty, wiesz, co z nimi zrobić?
Może zapiekankę?
Warzywa frosty. Jest pysznie. Frosta. Smaczna i prosta.
Hello one and all, welcome back to another video here on the Brugly channel. In this video, I will be showing you 10 of the most horrifying, toe-curlingly deadly, and disturbing backrooms levels that you've ever seen. These levels are so unnerving that you never will want to explore or experience them, except while watching this. These are the worst of the worst. They have the deadliest layouts, the worst effects, and sometimes the worst entities as well. And if you get a nightmare or two while watching this video, it's not my fault. Please sign here to accept the terms and conditions of this video. Anyways, thank you for clicking on this video and your amazing support. I love and appreciate you all. And I will see you at the end of the video. Let's get into it, shall we? So first up, the document starts with an exploration log that was found on this level. The log is between two explorers, and the two people are wandering through the woods of the level when they come across an apple tree. But the apple tree just looks off to them. It's bigger than apples from real life, and it's leaking some kind of strange juice. Thinking nothing is wrong, one wanderer just bites into the apple, and after that, they knew that they did the wrong thing. The apple tastes off, and it starts leaking that weird substance. The wanderer then starts to convulse and to purge repeatedly. She falls down and her skin starts to split apart, and her bones start to shift and multiply into multiple legs and arms. Her face starts to morph and distort, and she grows pincers and legs. The other wanderer that she was with watches in horror at what's happening to their friend and freaks out because their friend just turned into some kind of human centipede creature. So he drops his apple, runs away as fast as possible, and he's almost in the clearing until he trips. And you can guess what the centipede does next. So yeah, that was the intro log. What a great way to start off the level. You know, I definitely want to go there now. It seems really safe. Now it's time for the level description. Level 65 of the Backrooms is the 66th level, and it's been classified as a Class 4 difficulty, being very unsafe, very unsecure, with a medium dangerous entity count. The level itself has been split into 5 specific parts: the main area, the apple trees, the mouths, the centipedes, and the stump. So first I'm going to explain the main area so you can kind of get a sense of what we're dealing with. Level 65 is a constantly foggy and misty forest that has a bunch of different types of trees scattered throughout it. The trees seem to all be a reddish color, and their leaves are also dark red. Across this forest landscape, a thick, humid fog stagnates through the level, which makes it really hard to see out in front of you or really hard to see above you. There's no other weather besides a cool breeze that blows through the forest, which keeps the temperature at a nice, chill, fall-like temperature. The trees inside this level are not regular trees because they seem to be carnivorous, as in they literally eat meat. What kind of meat do they eat, you might ask? Well, it's specifically the meat of individuals who don't make it out of the level, their corpses being absorbed into the ground by the tree's roots. So far we have giant centipedes, weird poisonous apples, and carnivorous trees. Nice. Speaking of the ground, though, it's littered with red leaves and those oversized centipedes, some of which have been measured to be over 6 feet long, which is totally not horrific. No, it's totally fine. Anyways, that's the main part of the level, a red-colored, misty forest with cannibal trees. Now, I'm going to talk about the apple tree section. So the blood apple trees on this level manifest themselves evenly in evenly spaced rows. Each row is approximately 15 feet apart from the other row, and from the outside perspective, they just look like an apple orchard with red trees and apples. Nothing too crazy. But it's when you start looking at the actual apples that you notice something is off. The apples on the trees are very anomalous, and like I said, they seem to leak this red, vicious liquid. The liquid is very similar to stuff that comes out of our veins, but it's thought to be from animals. But just know that you should never eat any apples that you find on this level. Don't touch or bite or lick the apples, because what you saw in the log, what would happen? You'll start to turn sick, and you start convulsing, and you'll eventually crack yourself into a centipede shape, and then you'll be a person, but you'll also be a centipede. Pretty scary to think about, to be honest. But once a person eats an apple or touches an apple and starts to purge and throw up, that's when they're completely lost and they can't be saved, no matter how hard you try. Not even almond water could save them there. The next part of the level is the mouths. Yes, the mouths. These are really rare areas in the ground of the level that look like large, fleshy pits. They're around 9 feet in diameter, and they're an unknown depth, and they take the appearance of a circle, and it looks like a mouth. From far off, the openings just look like cave openings, but when you get closer, you'll notice that the mouths are covered in a flesh-like material, and sometimes you can see bits of matter swirling down their esophaguses, or esophagi, if you want to be fancy. Now, it's obvious that you shouldn't go near these mouths unless you want to fall in and never be seen again. The origin and the purpose of these fleshy pits are unknown, but there are some theories that have emerged that could explain them. One theory is that the level feeds directly through these mouths, and just like the trees that feed from the ground here, they soak in human bodies into themselves to somehow fuel the level. Others think that the level is some sort of giant super creature, and the mouths are just openings to its insides. Either way, it is pretty disgusting to see a biological mouth in the ground, in the woods. That is pretty terrifying. Some other weird things have happened surrounding the mouths as well. A common occurrence is to hear screaming coming from inside the mouths. Now, the screaming is either disembodied or it could be from somebody who fell in. We don't know, but hearing echoing screams through flesh mouths in the middle of the woods is definitely nightmare fuel. So moving on past the mouths to the next part of the level, which is the centipedes. Now, these can be normal sized, like a few inches long, to, like I said, up to 6 feet long, and they are very aggressive entities. They'll chase you the second they see you. They're also very quick, and they can climb things, so you're pretty much screwed if one sees you. In a gross twist of fate, some wanderers have actually managed to unalive a centipede in self-defense, and they've noticed that the inside of the centipede, inside of the skin, is a full human skeleton in the shape of a centipede that's been morphed into that shape, which is absolutely disgusting. But I guess it makes sense because it happens when you eat the apple and that red juice inside of it. Again, it is unknown how this happens, why it happens, or the biological process into how the humans transition into centipedes and how the bones crack to take the shape. We just don't know. All we know is that it's extremely dangerous to encounter these creatures. The last part of the level is known as the stump, which in and of itself is a very deep area inside the level. It looks like a cleanly cut black stump that has a bunch of anomalies that surround it. For example, when you get close to said stump, you'll experience sensory issues, and things will start to look distorted and broken. You'll be really disoriented, and you'll start to panic. After this, you'll begin to hear auditory hallucinations and see visual hallucinations pop in and out of your peripheral vision. And of course, literally, no one knows why this happens, but some people have even reported seeing silhouettes of dark human figures crawl out of the ground near the stump when the hallucinations start. Again, it's not known if it's a hallucination or if there are actual shadow creatures there. But when these hallucinations start, everything around you begins to turn a deep crimson red. The trees become black silhouettes, and everything becomes this derealization effect of this red horror. So if you encounter the stump, the best thing you can do is to instantly run the opposite way so you don't get trapped in its circumference of hallucinations. The stump itself seems to call wanderers to it and kind of lure them its way, which is why it's really hard to escape once you're there. Because of these attributes, this has led people to believe that the stump is sentient somehow, or maybe the core of the level. Other than a few theories, no one knows why the stump does this, or how it does this. It's just one of those things in the backrooms that we'll never understand. To enter this level, you can walk through a pair of wooden gates on any outdoor backrooms level, and to exit, you have to do the same thing, and you have to find a wooden gate tucked away deep into the level. Just make sure it's not near a tree, or a mouth, or a stump, or a centipede. Actually, just make sure it's not near anything, because you probably want to make it out alive, right? This level is actually really good, and it's actually one of my favorites in a long time. You know, the dark liminality of the woods mixed with the horror of the centipedes and the mouths and the apples, mixed with the psychological aspects of the stump, it makes this entire thing really good. Level 73 of the Backrooms, or the Redlands, as it's been nicknamed, is a level that is extremely dangerous, and I cannot state that enough. It is extremely dangerous. It's been given a Class 5 difficulty for being unsafe and unsecure and infested with scary entities. And I'll get into all the entities later on. In fact, the first single line on this document says, quote, "Do not go searching for level 73," end quote. But let me tell you all about it anyway, so you can figure out why you should never search for it. The levels article was written and uploaded from deep inside a castle that's located in the middle of this level. The people that wrote the article, they ventured through the various parts of this level to get to their current location, so they have pretty decent knowledge of what the level looks like and the dangers that lie within, and their description of what the level looks like is what I'll be going over in this video. Level 73 is the 74th level inside the Backrooms. It's most commonly known amongst wanderers as the Redlands because of its dark, red-stained grass and sky features. The level takes place on some sort of island with a large ocean surrounding it. The island, as of right now, is the only accessible and searched-through part of the level, since the ocean part around it has not been explored yet. Apparently the water should not be touched or entered at all due to deadly aquatic anomalies. But the island part of the level is so hard to explore, and it's just a very volatile place to be, mainly due to the entities that call this place home. The island itself is a dark red grassy island in the shape of a large circle. Scattered across the island along the red grass are trees and small shrubs that look dead and decayed. The trees and the grass and the shrubs all are circling the island, and in the middle of this circle is a large stone castle. Now, the entity density on this level is estimated to be one entity per 35 square feet. Let me repeat that. One thing every 35 feet. So pretty much there's going to be constantly entities around you somewhere in your eyesight. But I'm sure you're asking, what kind of creatures actually live here? Why is it so dangerous? There are smilers, death moths, clumps, dullers, hounds and skin stealers, and camo crawlers. Even death rats have been seen jumping through the grass. These are the most commonly reported ones, but those are just to name a few. There are also strange unknown creatures that have been documented to be here, like strange, tall, skinny humanoids that run ridiculously fast, like 50 miles an hour, and just snatch up wanderers without even seeing what they are. Again, no idea what they are, but now you know about them. Obviously, all those entities are dangerous in their own right, so when you get sent to this level, the second your feet hit the ground, you need to run as fast as you can through the field to get to the castle. Level 73 is pretty much in a perpetual state of darkness, and there's no day or night cycle whatsoever. The only light you actually have here is a full moon that casts this reddish glow across the cloudy sky. The moon itself never moves and never changes in its light intensity, giving the sky this fake, uncanny type of vibe. Now, right under what I just said, there's a sentence that states this: you do not want to use an artificial light source, and that you do not want to see at all until you get to the doors of the castle. And I'm sure, as you can tell, being on an island with entities, you don't want to turn a flashlight on because that would just signal that you're there. Like a moth to a flame, you know, they would just run at you and devour you. But I love how it says you do not want to see, because that's so scary, you know? If you can't see, then I'm sure the entities can't see as well, but the second you turn that flashlight on, they'll swarm you and they can see you. So like I said, you get here, your feet hit the ground, you sneak around and run in a straight line until you get to that castle. The silhouette of the castle is visible the second you get here. It's shrouded in that reddish moonlight glow. And it is imperative that you do not deviate or move from a straight line and that you do not stop running because of the entities. When, and more likely if, you do reach the doors of the castle, you need to bang on them as loud as you can, and then it'll like automatically open up for you. It's unknown if the castle is an entity itself, or if it just has sentience, or somebody's watching, we don't know. The castle has been named the Silver Castle, and it is the only known building on this red island. The way it was built, or who made it, is unknown, but it's a rather expansive, Gothic-style castle that is fully furnished and fully lit with candles and stuff like that. The castle has cold stone hallways and rooms with beds and huge halls and that kind of thing, and overall it's pretty lavishly decorated for being in the middle of an entity-infested island. It even has a main dining hall and these 6 huge bedroom areas. There are 3 floors to the castle and an attic area, all of which are accessible except the attic. And that's because a level exclusive creature made that area off limits. But I'll talk about that in a second. There are windows that look out to the island from inside the castle, but the article says, do not look outside in big bold letters. So I'm assuming you should listen to that. There are freshwater wells and barrels of food and grains located in the kitchen area here, and overall it seems to be a place that you can stay for a while and relax. Even though there's, horrifying things happening outside, you can chill inside here. Now that level exclusive entity that I mentioned lives inside this castle, and its name is Coran, or Coran, or Corin, C-O-R-A-N is how it's spelled. He is a large entity in a humanoid shape that is very muscular. He has thick black hair and 2 horn-like appendages sticking out of his head. One of his arms is gone, and in its place is a chain that is just shoved into his stub, which sounds pretty dope, I'm not gonna lie. He's very nice to wanderers, and he seems to be a protector in a way. Now, in a morbid twist of fate, he's missing both his eyes due to a large scratch across his face that he got from fighting off an entity. So instead, he wears a black bandana around the missing eyes. Apparently, his goal is to eradicate all entities on this level, which is pretty cool, but I think somebody might need to help bro out. I mean, it's like 1 versus 5,000 right now. I don't know if he's doing very effective stuff. If you want to enter this horrific level for some reason, whether you're crazy, whether you lost your mind, or whether you just want to put this level as a notch on your belt, some have reported being on level 14 or level 6 and no-clipping into this field here, randomly. But remember, if you do no-clip into the field, you have to run in a straight line to the castle. And do not hesitate, do not deviate, run. And to exit, this is where it gets pretty sad because you simply cannot. There has not been an exit found, and I'm sure if someone finds it, they'll put it on the website, but as of right now, you either will get consumed by the entity horde, or you will live out your days in the castle.
Rodziców, dbaj o odporność dziecka. Polecamy suplement diety Sanostol z wapniem i witaminą D. A dla najmłodszych nowość. Krople Sanostol Mikroflora plus D3 dla wsparcia rozwoju i mikrobiomu. Sanostol od Orifarm.
Zakupy robię w Lidlu. Już teraz. Ekspres ciśnieniowy marki Philips z dotykowym panelem sterowania. Aż 300 zł taniej. Tylko 999 zł. Najniższa cena z 30 dni przed obniżką 1299 zł. Lidl.
Backrooms level 909 is called sensory deprivation. And it's not for the reason you think. You'll see why later, but it's not just its quiet